What's going on, guys? It's Buddha back to y'all with another video. Really, what I wanted to sit here and talk to y'all about today was honestly my final opinions on NBA 2K24. So let's get right into it, right? Before we get started, make sure you leave a like, comment down below if you felt like this 2K was a step in the right direction. If you didn't like it, or if you did this, or if you did like it, let me know in the comment section what you liked or disliked about it. Are you excited for NBA 2K25? Did you pre-order it? And I'll see y'all live later on today at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let me talk about my pros and cons, because I have a lot of pros. I have a decent amount of cons. Let's start with the pros, because I feel like this year it's been a lot. So for the pros for NBA 2K24, in my personal opinion, I feel like this is the best defense has ever been in terms of guarding ball. Now, when it comes to paint defense, that's very questionable. When it comes to shot blocking, I feel like it's a lot more responsive, but we're not quite there yet. And what I mean by that is I feel like there's a lot of times where people get holed for blocking a shot because of a foul. And now granted, we have badges like whistle, so I completely understand. Obviously, if a person has high whistle and you're not timing the block correctly, that's going to be a foul, right? But for the most part, defensively, I think this is arguably one of the best years for 2K in terms of defense. The next thing I wanted to really touch on, which I feel like is a very important attribute that has not mattered in a very long time, is strength. This is the first year where I've actually and I have a couple builds. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I only made 1-2 builds and stuck with a build. I have different variations of different roles of the same type of build in my forte in my kit, and playing with different builds with different levels of strength, you definitely get a difference of playing on ball pressure. Now in the gameplay you're watching here, I'm not playing my typical role, which is a lockdown defender. I'm actually playing on my scoring build. But as someone that plays as a lockdown defender and tried with a 95 strength, tried with a 90 strength, tried with an 80 strength, I could tell you that strength actually does matter this year. You get a lot more bump steals. You tire your defender out a lot easier, and it's harder for your defender to get past you. The only way to really counter it, in terms of if there's really good on-ball pressure by the person that's defending you, is either A, if you have really good dribbling animations, B, a really good screener, or C, you yourself have high strength as well to combat the defense with the badges on top to, substitute it. I think that's really good. Another thing I liked about this 2K, right, is battle passes to extent. I do like the concept of, being able to unlock specific cosmetics. And I want to make this clear, because I'm not here to say I'm not a fan of the battle pass 100%, but I do like the cosmetics and stuff. I feel like when it comes to a battle pass should not lock animations. A battle pass should not lock certain jump shots. A battle pass should be for cosmetics, and I think that was the right approach. When we go into the cons, we're going to talk about everything I dislike about the battle pass. And when it came to this game, honestly, when it first dropped, there was only like 2 or 3 main issues, right? And if I'm missing anything out, if I forgot anything, feel free to add that in the comment section below. But the first thing I felt like they really missed out, they had to fix, was there was people was doing post hooks and they were scoring green anytime, no matter how heavy the contest was. And B, limitless didn't work till November. Other than that, I felt like the game was perfectly fine. And even now, I still think it's good. All right. No, those are the pros. And I will say this, and I'll actually defend this statement. I will defend this statement. I do believe that NBA 2K24 is, number one, a good direction towards the right step of what a 2K basketball game should be, but also B, I think this is actually the best NBA 2K game we got in the next gen consoles. And when I say that, I mean Xbox Series X and S, as well as PS5. I think this is the best 2K we got for these systems. I genuinely don't see this game becoming any better as long as they're still making NBA 2K for older gen consoles, but they're trying to get their money anyway. And how, I just don't see how it's 2024. These consoles have been out for at least 3-4 years now, and people haven't upgraded yet. Granted, economy, life is expensive, I get it, but you could put money to the side and upgrade. I don't know why you would want to play the inferior version of the game. I wouldn't even know why you would want to put out an inferior version of the game. All right. I also feel like this year it has been a lot easier to gain VC when it comes to my career, and playing online games. Like, you play an online game with and let me make this clear, I only play Pro-Am and Rec, so everything I'm talking about in this video will be catering towards that and just the Battle Pass and just the My Player Builder. Speaking of My Player Builder, let's go into that as well. When it comes to the My Player Builder, I actually like it. I like the idea, and I like the fact that not one build could do everything, right? If you want to be completely dominant in one category, you're not going to be good in no other category. If you try to give yourself a 99.3, guess what? That's damn near all your attribute points you could apply when you're making the player. So if you have a 99.3, you could shoot the lights out if you know how to actually shoot the ball, but you're not going to be able to get decent to good dribbling, decent to good defense, decent to good interior, and then the miscellaneous stuff like your stamina, your strength and stuff, that's not going to be as high as you want it to be. So I feel like when it comes to the builder to that extent, I do like it. Now, let's talk about the cons. This is where things get a little bit more interesting. Let's talk about the Battle Pass, the Season Pass, whatever the fuck they want to call it, right? Let's talk about that first, right? So, like I said, the one thing I liked about the Battle Pass was there were certain cosmetics that was locked towards the Battle Pass, which means if you played the game and you grinded it, you was rewarded with unlocking certain things. And obviously, you could speed your way through by buying tiers. Almost every game that incorporates a Battle Pass or Season Pass does this. This is nothing new. What I'm not a fan of is that there's certain animations and there's certain dribbles packages that are not only locked by the Battle Pass itself, but they're also locked by the season, right? So let's say, for example, Devin Booker layup package is very cheesy. I think we can all agree to it. As someone that's played Pro and tried to guard people that use Devin Booker layup package, it's a very broken layup package. I would have loved for something like that to come out at the beginning of the game versus around the end of the game where people are pretty much done with the game. I don't think animations should be locked based off a season. It should just be locked based off if you have the statistical stat in your player build to be able to use it, because this is where like you got to really put it into perspective as the consumer, right? This is where 2K has to put the perspective of the consumer. Let's just say, right, we're season 1, we make our builds for season 1, right? And those builds are doing good for like the first 5 seasons. Season 6 drop, there's a crazy animation that was not available at the beginning of the game that is basically game breaking, but because we didn't have knowledge of what our, maybe our stats need to be for specific categories to unlock and be able to use that animation, now we gotta drop more money to make a new My Player. And granted, for 2K's case, this is perfect for them. It gives them it gives us another reason to drop $50 to $100 more to remake another build, which inevitably put money back in their pocket for an animation that could have been available for day one. I'm all for certain jump shots being position locked. I'm all for certain animations being position locked, and I'm all for these same things to be locked based off if you have a specific rating. If I have for example, the jump shot I use, I need at least a 78 mid or 3 to use. So almost every build I have, actually no, not almost, every single build I have the same exact jump shot. So I don't have to cycle through different builds and worrying about, oh, I got to get my timing right for this jump shot, this jump shot, this jump shot, because I already understand what my threshold is. And as long as I have a specific stat that can accommodate that threshold, I'm able to use the same jump shot. I'm not against that for the sole fact that there shouldn't be a reason why if I'm able to shoot, because remember, at the end of the day, if you know your release, you're going to be able to green, right? So if I make a lock and I don't put nothing on my 3-pointer and I know I'm always going to be in the corner and I have a 53 ball, and let's just say my mid-range is not that high either, but because I know my jump shot from muscle memory, I don't have to worry about flickering and messing with my stats for those categories, and I could put them somewhere else where I could actually apply them to and be able to still shoot the 3 ball because of muscle memory I have with that jump shot on other builds. You don't want to deal with situations like that. We dealt with it before where we had lockdown defenders who had no shooting attributes, but they were able to green consistently from the corner simply because of the fact that the dimer boost, as well as them just having muscle memory of how to shoot the shot. And obviously, if you know your release, you should be able to hit it most of the time unless it's contested heavily. Then that's a different conversation on its own. But I do like the restriction. But I do feel like permitting jump shots, dribble, and layup and dunk animations specifically for seasons is not right for the consumer, because again, there could be animations that drop that come to find out is actually game breaking and could ultimately change the foundation of how the game is played, for not even just for Rec and Pro-Am, but for all game modes. So by putting basically not necessarily a paywall but a season wall, and not even like letting people know that, you know, this is the animation, this is how it's gonna work. I don't think they should do that. So what I'm hoping for is that for NBA 2K 25, that all the animations available up front. And if the animations are not available from the jump, I would rather them lock the animations from rep than lock the animations from the season rewards. Because at least with rep, that's something that you just have to grind to get. If you're locking animations with seasons, that means that number one, you're never gonna know when you're gonna see that animation. You don't even know that animation is ever gonna be in the game. But also, that's not something you could grind for opening night. I just feel like there's specific things that you should be able to grind for opening night, and animation should be one of those things. It's really, you're robbing people their money, and that's kind of not cool. That's kind of not fair. And I really just want for 2K25 to not put restrictions on animations from the jump and making it blocked through season passes. And when I mean restrictions, I'm talking about through season passes. Obviously, I don't want no one to be doing a Jamal Murray behind the back and they're a center with no ball handling. That should not be happening, okay? I want to make that very clear. No one should be doing a Jamal Murray behind the back with no ball control. I want to make that very clear, all right? Before y'all come and attack me on the comments, right? The next thing I want to talk about, that I don't really like about the game, is the paint defense. I feel like the paint defense could be a lot better. I just feel like it's a lot of variables that could come into play. I feel like that honestly could be a video on its own. But paint defense is not as responsive as it could be. I do like the shot blocking. I feel like jump shots go in a little too much. And obviously, if you know your shot, it should go in. But there's been, and a lot, especially a lot lately, where a lot of people are hitting heavily and smothered contested shots. Like I'm talking about 60% and higher jump shots, and greening them without having heat check, and it just goes in green easily. And it's really questionable, because it's just like at some points, it's like, you know, we know in the NBA there are times where players hit hard shots that should not go in, right, for the average person, but it's happening way too frequently in the Rec and Pro-Am stage, and I think they should like tone that down a bit. I'm not saying take it out completely. I do believe that every now and then, if you get your timing right, you should be able to green, but it's just like, it's way too consistent. Like I feel like if you're open, you have a high enough rating, and you know your shot timing, you shouldn't be missing. I feel like the average when it comes to shooting specifically in 2K, you can't compare it to real life statistics. The best shooters in the league are shooting roughly 40% from three, right? In 2K, the best shooters in 2K are roughly shooting anywhere between 60 to 80% from three, right? Which basically means if they had 10 shot attempts from the three-point line, they're gonna make at least 6, 7, or 8 of them, right? Holistically, and if they're open, they should do that. Another thing I hate, right? This is one of my biggest things, and I know why they did it, but I feel like they have to tone it back down just a little bit. So when you're playing defense, you can argue specifically a zone, or you're trying to sag off your defender. There's situations where, because you're sagging off just a little bit too far, the pass actually would stun you when it goes towards the defender, which gives your defender either two options: either A, the opportunity to take that open shot, or B, give the person you're defending the opportunity to actually go and run to the rim. Not a huge fan of it. They need to either take it out or tone it down completely. I get why they do it, because a lot of people it's easier to play the lane when you're sagging off, because you already know what your matchup is going to do. So because you're sagging off, you're trying to see if you could bait the pass and leverage interceptor. But I don't like the fact that the pass could stun you, making you not move at all. It's like you're trying to force yourself to go. You're losing stamina while you're trying to do this, by the way, but my player is legitimately not moving, and now you're giving up a corner three, or just a three in general, or mid, or even just an easy bucket to the paint. So that's another thing I feel like they should take out. I hate the idea that your badges could downgrade. I get the concept of it, because in real life, like the actual NBA players, they may have like a gold badge today, but maybe by the end of the season, that same badge might now be silver or Hall of Fame. I get the concept. I get the concept of badges progressively going up and down no matter how much you lose them. I'm not against that idea 100%. I would just say I feel like once you get that badge to the highest tier, you should not have to lose it. I hate the idea that we have to play, and get to level 40 to have both the silver and gold floor stopper, or whatever it's called, floor setter, to make sure the badge doesn't progressively downgrade any further. And if they were to re-implement, and let me put it like this, if they were to re-implement this concept back in 2K25, I would like for them to actually do a floor setter for silver, gold, and Hall of Fame, because they only do it for silver and gold. Bronze obviously doesn't make sense. You can't lose a badge, right? Which is something I'm glad they didn't do, because imagine losing a badge completely. That would be insane. Obviously, you start off once your attributes are high enough, you get every badge bronze by default. So at least you don't have to unlock the badge. I think that's cool. That's fair. But the idea and the concept that, let's just say, based off my position, so for me specifically, I'm mainly a lockdown defender. So most times the way I'm scoring is either open in the corner, someone tells me to cut to the rim, we do a Fifi play, right? Maybe someone sets an off-ball screen. So there's very specific amount of badges that I'm able to leverage, right? But there are also some badges I may have that I won't be able to use because of my role and positioning. And this was a discussion that the 2K community had at the beginning of the year, where we really just talked about, like, the badge system wouldn't make sense for role players, right? If you're the person that always have the ball in their hand on an offensive end, it makes sense. If you're the person that's always guarding ball on the defensive end, that makes sense. But what about the people that's not doing neither? They're gonna have very small restrictions of what badges they can have tier, because the way I like to see is this: you could throw someone off their game in a specific game doing something that you typically don't do, but they don't know that you have the badges to do it. But because the way the game is designed, you're not going to have the badges to do it, because they're probably going to be at bronze. I can't tell you how many times there were specific badges I had at gold that I typically do not use on a regular competitive game, and by the time I'm able to be in a situation where I'm able to use it and it triggers, it's bronze or it's silver. It's the most frustrating thing. They should take out floor setters completely. They should take out badge regression out completely. I think what they should do is keep the concept where, as long as you have the statistical stat in your My Player, once you upgrade it, you have access to the badge at bronze, bare minimum. That's cool. As you progress, you get the badges on silver, gold, and Hall of Fame, and I think that's fine. If they were to re-implement this system again in next year for 2K25, number one, they should make the regression a lot lower than the progression, right? The regression should be twice as low as it should be at 2 times slower than whatever the progression is to get that badge to the next tier. That's number one. Number two, they shall also implement a Hall of Fame floor setter. So instead of gold floor setter being the gold floor setter being the 40th level for the season pass, it should honestly be a Hall of Fame one, right? And lastly, why is there no shoot around in the Pro-Am arena? Why did they take that out? That makes no sense to me. Why would they take out the Pro-Am arena for a shoot around? I hate the fact that I cannot shoot around, get some good shots in, and practice and warm up before I have a matchup to do, because I can't shoot around. Because you could shoot around in Gatorade facility, you could shoot around in what's his name, where you do your lethals. I like the lethals. The lethals is something they definitely should keep, where you do lethal shooter gym. You could shoot around in rec, but every game mode have different levels of latencies. Every game mode and facility has different difficulty levels. The game speed and difficulty level of rec is completely different from Pro-Am. It does not feel the same. I went out into the Pro-Am arena last week with a couple of my friends. They thinking that it was going to be the same way it was in rec, and oh my god, we were building houses out there. Not me, but we were building houses out there. So that's something I would like to avoid. Give us the ability to shoot around in the Pro-Am arena before we match up, whether it's online rank, online public, or private match. All right. Other than that, I can't say I'm excited for 2K25. I have not seen no gameplay yet. I have not pre-ordered it. Till I see actual gameplay, I am not gonna pre-order that game. Let me know in the comment section down below, how do you feel about NBA 2K25? How do you feel about NBA 2K24? Do you feel like this was the best 2K we got in next gen? or do you feel like this was one of the worst ones? And what would you like to see improved? This is Buddha signing off. See y'all at 6 p.m. Eastern. Have a blessed day.